The day the aliens came was like any other in the busy trauma unit at Chicago General Hospital. Dr. Olivia Martinez had just finished a 12-hour shift. Her dark hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail, and deep circles shadowed her eyes. She had saved 3 lives today. It was a good day. Going home, Liv? The nurse at the station asked as Olivia signed off on her last chart. Finally. My bed is calling me, she said with a tired smile. The first sign that something was wrong came when all the phones in the hospital started ringing at once. Then the power flickered. Outside the windows, a shadow fell across the city. Olivia rushed to the window with everyone else. Above Chicago, a massive ship hung in the sky. It was smooth and silver, shaped like a curved blade, and it was bigger than downtown itself. Similar ships appeared over every major city on Earth at the same time. The news channels called it First Contact. Government officials urged calm. Scientists expressed wonder and excitement. 3 days later, the aliens revealed why they had come. Olivia sat in the hospital conference room with 50 other doctors. On the large screen, an alien face looked out at them. The creature had blue-gray skin, 4 eyes set in a diamond pattern, and no visible nose. When it spoke, its words were translated by a mechanical voice. I am Sub-Admiral Zextul of the Keldari Collective, the alien said. We have studied your species for some time. You are primitive in many ways, but your medical professionals possess skills our medical corps need. The room filled with confused whispers. The Keldari Collective has been at war with the Vask Dominion for 27 of your Earth years, Zextul continued. Our medical resources are stretched thin. We require your assistance. The hospital director stood up. Are you asking for volunteers? I'm sure many doctors would be interested in learning about alien medicine. All 4 of Zextul's eyes blinked at once. This is not a request. We have selected specific medical personnel who will serve in our fleet. Your names are being provided. To your leaders now. Shock and anger rippled through the room. Someone shouted about rights and laws. Someone else mentioned the Geneva Convention. The alien seemed unmoved. Your planet has no defense against us. We could take what we need by force. Instead, we offer a trade. Medical personnel in exchange for protection. The Vask would not be as gentle as we are. Later that day, Olivia received her notice. She had been selected. So had Dr. Nathan Collins, a trauma surgeon with steady hands and a calm voice. So had Dr. Samantha Winters, who had worked with Doctors Without Borders in war zones and disaster areas. Dr. Alan Patel, a brilliant neurologist, and Dr. Lisa Rodriguez, who specialized in emergency medicine, were also on the list. This is kidnapping, Nathan said when they gathered in the hospital cafeteria. His normally cheerful face was tight with anger. They can't just take us. They can, Lisa said quietly. Did you see those ships? We don't have a choice. Alan pushed, his glasses up his nose. I always wanted to explore space, just not like this. They said we have skills they need, Samantha said thoughtfully. What could that mean? Their technology must be far more advanced than ours. Olivia stared into her untouched coffee. I guess we'll find out. They were given 3 days to put their affairs in order. Olivia called her parents, her brother in California, her ex-husband. What could she say? That she was being drafted into an alien war? That she might never come back? On the day of departure, 500 doctors from around the world gathered at a military base in Nevada. They carried small bags with personal items. Armed soldiers and government officials watched from a distance. A smaller alien ship landed in front of them. It was sleek and silver like the mothership, but about the size of a commercial airplane. A door opened in its side, revealing a ramp. Sub-Admiral Zextul emerged, flanked by 2 taller aliens in what looked like armor. In person, the Sub-Admiral was about Olivia's height but with a leaner build. His uniform was a dark blue material that seemed to shift and flow like liquid. Welcome, Earth Medical Corps, he said, his voice translated by a small device at his throat. You are now part of the Keldari Collective's war effort. You will be treated with respect as valued specialists. In return, we expect your full cooperation." One by one, they boarded the ship. Inside, the air smelled clean, but strange, with a hint of something like cinnamon. The walls glowed with soft blue light. There were no sharp edges anywhere, just smooth curves and flowing lines. The Earth doctors were led to a large room with rows of seats that molded to their bodies when they sat down. The seats faced large windows that showed the Nevada desert outside. Olivia found herself between Nathan and Samantha. "I can't believe this is happening," she whispered. Nathan reached for her hand and squeezed it. "We'll stick together, all of us." The ship rose from the ground so smoothly that Olivia barely felt it move. Outside the windows, Earth grew smaller, at an impossible speed. Within minutes, they could see the curve of the planet, the blue oceans, the swirls of white clouds. "It should take months to get this far out," Alan said from across the aisle, his voice filled with awe despite their situation. "Their technology is incredible." Soon they docked with the mothership, a massive structure that Olivia's mind couldn't fully process. It wasn't just big. It was like a floating city in space. They were led through corridors filled with aliens of different shapes and sizes. Some looked almost like tall, thin humans. Others had extra limbs, unusual skin colors, or features that seemed to defy Earth biology. The Keldari Collective includes 12 major species and 27 minor ones. Sub-Admiral Zextul explained as they walked. "You will learn to treat all of them." "How can we possibly help?" Olivia asked. "We know nothing about alien anatomy." Zextul turned all four eyes toward her. "That is precisely why you were chosen, Dr. Martinez. Human physicians still rely on observation, touch, and intuition alongside your technology. Our battle medics have become too dependent on automated systems. When those systems fail in combat, they are lost." They arrived at what was clearly a medical bay. The room was filled with beds and equipment that looked somewhat familiar in purpose, if not in design. "This ship, the Mender's Hope, is a medical frigate," Zextul said. "You will learn our methods first, then teach us yours. The war does not wait. Your training begins now." Olivia looked at her fellow doctors, seeing the same mix of fear and determination on their faces that she felt inside. Whatever happened next, they would face it together. As the Mender's Hope pulled away from Earth, carrying them to an alien war they had never asked to join, Olivia made a silent promise to herself. Somehow they would find a way home. The first week aboard the Mender's Hope was a blur of strange sights and overwhelming information. The Earth doctors were given small private rooms, simple but comfortable. The food was unfamiliar, oddly colored pastes and gels that tasted better than they looked. Time felt strange too, as the ship followed a 26-hour day cycle rather than Earth's 24. Olivia and her colleagues spent most of their time in what the Keldari called the learning chamber. It was a large room with walls that could display three-dimensional images of alien anatomy. They learned about the 12 major species in the collective, the four-eyed Keldari themselves, the tall, thin Viridians, the short, sturdy Bolmar, and 9 others with bodies so different from humans that Olivia struggled to understand how they even functioned. "This is impossible," Nathan said on their 5th day of training. They were sitting together at a table in the ship's dining area. "How can we learn to treat species we've barely heard of?" "It's not as different as you might think," Samantha said. She had adapted fastest to their situation, her experience in disaster zones helping her cope with the unfamiliar. Most of them have circulatory systems, respiratory systems, nervous systems. The parts look different, but the functions are similar. Alan nodded. "It's like comparing different car models. They all have engines and wheels, but the parts aren't in the same places." Lisa pushed her food around her plate. "It's not just the anatomy that's strange. It's how they practice medicine. Have you noticed? The Keldari barely touch their patients," Olivia had noticed. The Keldari medical training focused heavily on using scanning devices and automated treatment pods. Their medical officers rarely performed physical examinations or manual procedures. Their instructor, Chief Medical Officer Trevlix, was particularly rigid about following protocols. He was older for a Keldari, with pale blue-gray skin and a scar across one of his lower eyes. He treated the humans with cold politeness, clearly doubtful about their value. "Today you will observe an emergency treatment," Trevlix announced the next morning. He led them to the main medical bay where a Viridian soldier lay on a treatment bed. The alien was at least 7 feet tall with greenish skin. One of its 4 arms was badly burned. Trevlix pointed to a large machine beside the bed. "The medical pod will scan the patient, diagnose the injury, and administer treatment. No contact is needed." The Viridian was placed inside the pod, which hummed as it worked. Screens displayed detailed scans of the injury. "Third-degree plasma burns to the upper right limb," Trevlix explained. "The pod will remove damaged tissue, promote cellular regeneration, and prevent infection." "Doesn't look that different from how we treat burns," Nathan whispered to Olivia. "Just more automated." The next day they faced their first real test. The Mender's Hope received a distress call from a Keldari patrol ship that had been damaged in an asteroid field. 3 crew members were injured. As the injured Keldari were brought into the medical bay, alarms suddenly blared throughout the ship. "Power fluctuation," a voice announced over the speakers. "Emergency systems activated." The lights dimmed, and the medical pods shut down. Trevlix and his team froze, clearly unprepared. "What do we do?" a young Keldari medic asked, panic in her voice. "The pods are offline." "How long until backup power is restored to the medical systems?" Trevlix demanded into his communication device. "At least 30 minutes, came the reply. One of the injured Keldari was bleeding heavily from a wound in his abdomen. Without the medical pods to stop the bleeding and repair the damage, he would die before power was restored. Nathan stepped forward. "I can help. I need surgical tools." Trevlix stared at him. "Manual surgery? That is primitive. Too dangerous. He'll die if we do nothing," Nathan insisted. After a moment of hesitation, Trevlix nodded. A medic brought a case of instruments that looked similar enough to Earth surgical tools. Nathan examined the wound with his hands, feeling for damage. "The bleeding is coming from a major blood vessel. I need to clamp it and repair it." He looked at Olivia. "I need an assistant." Olivia joined him, falling easily into their familiar trauma team routine. Nathan worked quickly, his hands steady as he found the damaged vessel and repaired it. The other Keldari medics watched in amazement as the 2 humans worked without scanners or automated guidance. "I need something to close the wound," Nathan said when the bleeding was controlled. A young female Keldari medic, Ventar, stepped forward. "We have tissue sealant. It works without power." She handed him a small device that applied a clear gel to the wound edges. The gel hardened instantly, closing the injury. By the time the power was restored, Nathan and Olivia had stabilized all 3 patients. The injured Keldari were placed in the now functioning medical pods to complete their treatment. Trevlix approached them afterward, all 4 eyes blinking rapidly, a sign of strong emotion among the Keldari. "Your methods are unorthodox," he said stiffly, "but effective. Perhaps there is something to be learned from Earth medicine after all." Word of the humans' success spread quickly through the ship. The next day, they found themselves surrounded by curious Keldari medics asking questions about manual medicine. Samantha saw an opportunity. She began documenting the differences between species, not just anatomy, but how they responded to pain, how their healing processes worked, what medications affected them. She created a field guide that the Keldari had never thought to make. Alan discovered that his neurological expertise was particularly valuable. The complex neural systems of many alien species confused the automated scanners, but Alan's understanding of fundamental nervous system principles helped him identify problems the machines missed. Lisa focused on emergency protocols, noting that the Keldari approach to triage made no sense. They prioritized patients based on military rank rather than medical need. "That's why you're losing more patients than necessary," she told Ventar, who had become their most eager student. "You can't treat a minor injury on an officer while enlisted personnel bleed out just because of rank." But that is protocol, Ventar said, though she looked troubled. Protocols don't save lives, Lisa replied. Good decisions do. 1 month into their time aboard the Mender's Hope, Olivia realized they were no longer just learning. They were teaching. Small groups of Keldari medics gathered around them during shifts, watching how they worked with their hands, how they made decisions without waiting for machine diagnostics. They're starting to respect us, Nathan said one evening as they gathered in Olivia's room. Some of them, Samantha corrected. Trevlik still thinks we're primitive. He'll come around, Olivia said, especially after what happened today. That morning, she had diagnosed a rare condition in a Bulmar engineer that the medical pod had missed completely. The machines had been programmed to look for common illnesses, but Olivia's careful observation had spotted subtle signs that indicated something the Keldari hadn't seen in years. We're making a difference, she said. Not the way I expected, but still. As they talked, the ship's alarm system suddenly activated. All medical personnel to stations, the announcement blared. Incoming casualties, battle stations. The humans looked at each other. This was it. Their first real test in the alien. War they'd been drafted to join. Ready? Olivia asked. Nathan nodded. Together, they rushed to the medical bay, ready to show what Earth doctors could really do. The Mender's Hope shook as it came out of faster-than-light travel. Olivia and the other Earth doctors rushed to the main medical bay. Keldari medics moved quickly around them, preparing beds and checking equipment. What's happening? Olivia asked Ventar, who was setting up surgical tools. Vask attack on Procyon Station, the young Keldari medic replied. Her 4 eyes blinked rapidly in distress. It's a major medical hub. Thousands of patients and staff. We're the closest medical ship. Sub-Admiral Zextul entered the medical bay, his uniform looking less crisp than usual. Attention all medical personnel. The situation is grave. Procyon Station has suffered heavy damage. Their medical systems are failing. We expect hundreds of casualties of all species. Trevlik stepped forward. We will follow standard protocol. Highest-ranking officers first, then... No, Olivia said, surprising herself with her boldness. Everyone turned to look at her. That won't work for mass casualties. Zextol's upper eyes narrowed. Explain, Dr. Martinez. We need a triage system based on medical need, not rank, she said. Immediate life-threatening injuries first, then severe but stable, then walking wounded. That is not our way, Trevlik objected. Your way will get people killed unnecessarily. Nathan backed her up. In mass casualty events, you have to maximize survival, not privilege. Zextol was silent for a moment. The station's medical director is dead. Their systems are in chaos. He looked at Olivia. You have experience with mass casualties? Yes, she said. We all do. The other Earth doctors nodded. Very well, Zextol decided. Dr. Martinez will coordinate triage. The rest of you will work where assigned. We dock in 10 minutes. Procyon Station was worse than they had imagined. The circular space station had a massive hole torn in one side. Emergency force fields held in the air, but barely. The corridors were filled with injured people of all species. Some were Keldari, others were species the Earth doctors had never seen before. The station's main medical center was overwhelmed. Medical pods were filled, and many were malfunctioning due to power surges. The remaining station medics looked lost without their technology. Nathan, lead a surgical team in the east section, Olivia directed. Samantha, set up a stabilization area here. Alan, handle neurological trauma. Lisa, organize medication distribution. We need to work fast. The Earth doctors moved with purpose, their experience with disasters on Earth guiding them. The Keldari medics watched in amazement as the humans examined patients with their hands, made quick decisions, and worked efficiently with minimal equipment. Olivia, set up a simple color coding system, red for immediate, yellow for delayed, green for minor, black for expectant. It was the same system used in Earth disasters. She trained a group of Keldari to recognize basic signs of different injuries across species, using Samantha's field guide. Check capillary refill in these 3 species. Look for skin color changes in these 4, and watch breathing patterns in all of them, she instructed. Don't wait for scanner results. In the surgical area, Nathan worked tirelessly. He had set up 4 tables where he and the most skilled Kildari medics performed emergency procedures. When the medical scanners gave confusing results, Nathan relied on his surgical instincts, developed over thousands of Earth operations. The scanner says internal bleeding but can't locate the source, a frustrated Kildari medic said about a Viridian patient. Look at the skin tension here, Nathan showed him, and the way the abdomen feels. The bleeding is in the lower quadrant. Let me show you. Alan faced his own challenges with neural injuries. Many soldiers had neural implants that were damaged in the attack. The Kildari had limited experience treating such injuries without special equipment. The brain's basic functions are similar across species, Alan explained to his team. Look for these signs of increased pressure. We can stabilize them manually until the equipment is fixed. Lisa managed the growing medication crisis. The station's automated dispensary was failing, giving incorrect doses. We need to calculate manually, she insisted, based on body weight and specific biology. Don't trust the computers right now. Ventar worked closely with Olivia, learning quickly. This is not how we were trained, she said as they stabilized a badly injured Bolmar. Emergency medicine is about adapting, Olivia replied. That's what makes humans good at it. We expect things to go wrong and we prepare for it. 4 hours into the crisis, a new alarm sounded. A group of injured soldiers arrived, all showing similar symptoms: blue skin discoloration, difficulty breathing, and rapid heart rates. Trevlix scanned them with a handheld device. Unknown pathogen, possible Vask bioweapon. His voice was tight, with fear. We have no protocol for this. The soldiers' conditions worsened rapidly. The Kildari medics looked at each other helplessly, waiting for the computers to identify the problem and recommend treatment. Lisa pushed through the crowd and examined one of the patients. These symptoms look familiar, she said. Similar to cyanide poisoning on Earth. It blocks cells from using oxygen. She looked at the medication supplies they had. We need something that can help the cells use oxygen through an alternative pathway. What do you have that does that? A Kildari pharmacist brought up a list of medications on a screen. Lisa scanned it quickly and pointed to one. This could work. It's similar to our hydroxycobalamin. We need to administer it immediately, high dose. But the system hasn't confirmed, Trevlix began. They'll be dead before it does, Lisa cut him off. Trust me. Zextol, who had been observing silently, nodded. Do it. Lisa and her team administered the medication to all affected soldiers. Within minutes, their conditions began to stabilize. How did you know? Trevlix asked later, his voice less hostile than before. Pattern recognition, Lisa explained. Humans are good at seeing patterns because we've had to be. We didn't always have advanced technology to tell us what was wrong. As the crisis on Procyon Station began to stabilize, the differences between Kildari and human approaches to medicine became clear to everyone. The Kildari relied on technology and protocols, which failed them when systems went down. The humans relied on observation, touch, and adaptive thinking, which worked even in the worst conditions. By the time reinforcements arrived from other Kildari ships, the Earth doctors had established a functioning emergency medical system on the damaged station. Casualties were lower than anyone had expected given the severity of the attack. Sub-Admiral Zextul found Olivia as she was finally taking a break after 12 straight hours of work. Dr. Martinez, he said, his voice solemn. The High Command has requested a full report on your methods. They are impressed. Olivia was too tired to feel proud. We just did what we were trained to do. And that, Zextul said, is precisely what makes you valuable. Rest while you can. Word of what happened here will spread quickly. He paused. The Kildari Collective may have underestimated humans. As Olivia closed her eyes for a brief rest, she thought about home, about Earth. For the first time since being taken, she felt like they had some leverage, some value that the Keldari truly needed. Maybe, just maybe, that would be their way back home someday. But for now, there were more patients to treat, and a war that showed no signs of ending. News of what happened at Procyon Station spread quickly through the Keldari fleet. 2 weeks after the battle, the Earth doctors found themselves celebrities of sorts. Keldari medics from other ships came to observe them work. Officers nodded, respectfully when they passed in the corridors. Olivia was reviewing patient charts in the medical bay when Sub-Admiral Zextul approached her. His uniform was freshly pressed, and he stood straighter than usual. Dr. Martinez, the High Commando, wishes to speak with you and your colleagues, he said. Please gather them and come to the communication center in 1 hour. Olivia found the others and shared the news. They gathered in Nathan's room to prepare. This could be good, Samantha said hopefully. Maybe they're finally going to send us home. Alan shook his head. I doubt it. The war's getting worse. They need us more than ever. Whatever they want, Lisa said. We need to stand together. They arrived at the communication center together. It was a large room with screens covering the walls. On the main screen, 3 senior Keldari officials waited. They wore elaborate uniforms with many decorations. Earth medical personnel, I am High Commander Vextil, the central figure said. Your performance at Procyon Station has come to our attention. Olivia stepped forward. We were just doing our jobs, Commander. Indeed. And you did them exceptionally well. The High Commander's 4 eyes blinked slowly. Our reports indicate that your methods saved many lives when our technology failed. This is unexpected. Nathan stood beside Olivia. Human medicine evolved differently than yours. We rely less on technology and more on skills that work in any condition. Precisely, the High Commander said. And that is why we have made a decision. We will be expanding the human medical draft program. 5,000 more Earth doctors will be brought into service immediately. The humans looked at each other in shock. 5,000, Olivia repeated. You can't do that. We can and we must, another official said. The Vask have increased their attacks. Our medical corps cannot handle the casualties using our methods alone. Your Earth techniques are needed throughout the fleet. Olivia felt anger rising in her. We were taken against our will. Now you want to take thousands more? This is not a negotiation, the third official said coldly. Earth has no choice in this matter. There must be another way, Samantha said. Our people won't accept this. Zextul, who had been silent until now, stepped forward. High Command, if I may suggest an alternative. Instead of conscripting more humans, perhaps the Earth doctors could train our medics in their techniques, the officials murmured among themselves. Finally, the High Commander spoke again. An interesting proposal, but it would take too long. We need these skills now. Give us a chance, Nathan said quickly. Let us develop a training program. We can teach your medics our most important techniques in weeks, not years. After more discussion among themselves, the High Commander nodded. You have 1 month to demonstrate that Keldari medics can learn these Earth methods effectively. If you fail, the conscription will proceed. The screen went dark. The human stood in silence for a moment. Thank you, Olivia said to Zextul. He blinked his 4 eyes. I have seen what you can do. Mass conscription would damage relations with Earth permanently. This may be a better path for everyone. They left the communication center and gathered in Olivia's room to plan. 1 month to turn technology-dependent Keldari into hands-on doctors, Lisa said. Is that even possible? It has to be, Olivia replied, or thousands more people will be taken from Earth. Nathan nodded. We need to start with the basics. Physical, examination skills, manual procedures, decision-making without computers. And we need to focus on the medics who are actually receptive, Samantha added. Starting with Ventar and her friends. Alan adjusted his glasses. We need to document everything. Create training materials that can be used throughout the fleet. They worked through the night, developing a curriculum they called Medicine Without Machines. The next morning, they presented their plan to Chief Medical Officer Trevlix. This is absurd, he said after reviewing their proposal. You want our medics to touch patients, perform procedures by hand, and make diagnoses without full scans? This goes against centuries of Kildari medical practice. It saved lives at Procyon Station, Olivia reminded him. When your systems failed, our methods worked. A rare circumstance, Trevlix insisted. War is full of rare circumstances, Nathan countered. That's exactly why adaptability matters. Despite Trevlix's objections, Sub-Admiral Zexatul approved their training program. They started with a group of 20 young Kildari medics, including Ventar, who had volunteered eagerly. The training began with the most basic skill of all, touching patients. Many Kildari were uncomfortable with physical contact, seeing it as primitive and potentially dangerous. Your hands are diagnostic tools, Nathan explained as he demonstrated how to palpate an abdomen on a volunteer. They can tell you things a scanner might miss. Some medics adapted quickly, others struggled to overcome their cultural conditioning. Ventar proved to be their star pupil, mastering physical examination techniques faster than anyone expected. Never realized how much information I was missing, she told Olivia during a practice session. I can feel the heat of inflammation, the resistance of fluid, the texture of tissues. The scanners only show images. Trevlix watched their training sessions from a distance, his disapproval clear in his stance. But even he couldn't deny the progress the young medics were making. By the end of the second week, their trainees could perform basic manual procedures, setting bones, suturing wounds, feeling for pulses, and recognizing breathing patterns across different species. They're learning quickly, Samantha told the others during their evening meeting. Faster than I expected. But not fast enough, Alan worried. We have 2 weeks left, and High Command will want proof that this is working. We need a way to demonstrate the value of what we're teaching, Olivia said. Something that will convince even the most skeptical Kildari. Their opportunity came sooner than expected. The Mender's Hope received an urgent mission to a frontier outpost that had lost communication. A small team would go to investigate and provide medical assistance if needed. I'm selecting a medical team for this mission, Zextal informed them. Dr. Martinez, Dr. Collins, you will go, along with Chief Medical Officer Trevlix and 4 others. May I suggest including Ventar? Olivia asked. She's shown exceptional progress in our training. Zextal considered for a moment, then nodded. Very well. Prepare to depart in 6 hours. As they packed medical supplies, Trevlix approached them. This mission will be dangerous, he said. The outpost is near Vask territory. If your Earth methods fail us there, the consequences could be severe. They won't fail, Nathan said confidently. And maybe you'll finally see why hands-on medicine matters. We shall see, Trevlix replied, his tone making it clear he remained unconvinced. As their shuttle prepared to leave the Mender's Hope, Olivia felt a mix of anxiety and determination. This mission could be their chance to prove the value of their training program, and potentially save thousands of Earth doctors from conscription. Or it could go terribly wrong, stranding them in hostile territory with a medical officer who still doubted their methods. Either way, they were about to face their greatest test yet. The shuttle approached the frontier outpost, a small station built into an asteroid at the edge of Kildari space. From the outside, everything looked normal, but no one was answering their calls. Scans show life signs, the pilot reported. Multiple species. Some readings are unstable. Prepare for emergency medical situation, Trevlix ordered as they docked with the station. When the airlock opened, they were met with the smell of smoke and the sound of emergency alarms. The lights flickered, and the air felt too warm. Power systems are failing, a Kildari technician said, checking a wall panel. Life support is on emergency backup. Olivia and Nathan exchanged looks. This was exactly the kind of situation where their methods would prove valuable. They found survivors gathered in the main hub of the station. About 30 people of various species sat or lay on the floor. Many were injured, with burns or broken bones. Others seemed sick, with blue discoloration, similar to what they had seen at Procyon Station. An older Viridian approached them. Thank the stars you've come. I'm Commander Renlaw. We were attacked by a Vask raiding party 3 days ago. They damaged our systems and released something into the air before retreating. Bioweapon, Trevlik said grimly. Same as Procyon Station. Our medical bay was destroyed in the attack, Renla continued. The medical officer was killed. We've been doing what we can, but... She gestured helplessly at the suffering people. Trevlix looked troubled as he scanned the area with his handheld device. Without a functional medical bay or medical pods, our options are limited. No, they're not, Olivia said firmly. She turned to the team. This is why we've been training. Ventar, set up a triage area. Nathan and I will handle the critical cases. The rest of you work in pairs as we practiced. To her surprise, Trevlix didn't object. He simply watched as they began organizing the space into treatment areas. Ventar moved with confidence, examining patients with her hands and sorting them according to the triage system Olivia had taught her. The other Keldari medics followed. Her lead, though with less certainty. Olivia found a young Bolmar with severe breathing problems. The bioweapon had affected his lungs badly. Without a medical pod, the standard Keldari treatment was impossible. I need to clear his airways manually, she told Ventar. Get me a small tube, something flexible but firm. While Ventar searched for supplies, Olivia monitored the Bolmar's breathing. It was getting worse. Ventar returned with a piece of equipment. That might work. Will this do? It's part of a fluid transfer system. Perfect. Olivia carefully inserted the makeshift breathing tube, saving the Bolmar's life with a procedure that would never appear in Keldari medical protocols. Across the room, Nathan worked on a Keldari with a crushed arm. Without regeneration pods, the standard treatment would be amputation. I can save the arm, Nathan told the frightened patient. But I need to reset the bones and repair the blood vessels by hand. It will hurt, but we have pain medication. The patient looked at Trevlix, who had been watching silently. After a moment, Trevlix nodded. Trust him. He knows what he's doing. For hours, they worked without advanced technology, using only basic tools in their hands. The Keldari medics who had trained with them put their new skills to use, gaining confidence with each patient they treated. Ventar moved between cases, her 4 eyes alert and focused. She adapted Earth techniques to the unique anatomy of each species, sometimes improvising in ways that impressed even Olivia. You're a natural at this, Olivia told her as they treated a Viridian with a head injury. I always felt something was missing in our approach, Ventar admitted. Too much distance between healer and patient, too much reliance on machines. By the time a Keldari rescue ship arrived 6 hours later, all the survivors were stable. Despite the lack of medical pods or advanced equipment, not a single patient had been lost. The rescue ship's medical officer was shocked when he saw what they had accomplished. How did you manage without proper facilities? Before Trevlix could answer, a call came in from the Mender's Hope. The main screen in the hub activated, showing a grim-faced Sub-Admiral Zextal. The situation has escalated, he announced. A massive Vask fleet has attacked Altair Prime, our medical headquarters. All ships are being called to assist. How bad is it? Trevlix asked. Catastrophic, Zextal replied. Their main attack targeted our medical facilities. Most systems are down. Thousands of casualties with more coming in. Communication is limited. We'll return immediately, Trevlix said. There's more, Zextal continued. High Command has accelerated their plans. They're beginning the larger Earth conscription now, claiming the emergency demands it. Olivia stepped forward. Wait, we've just proven our training works. These medics saved everyone here without advanced technology. Tell High Command to hold off on the conscription. Our methods can help right now. Zextal looked thoughtful. The evidence from your outpost mission is compelling, but one success may not be enough to convince them. To everyone's surprise, Trevlix spoke up. Sub-Admiral, I have witnessed these Earth methods firsthand. They are effective, especially when our technology fails us. I support Dr. Martinez's request to delay the conscription. Zextal seemed startled by Trevlix's support. I will relay your recommendation, but I cannot promise High Command will listen. Return to the Mender's Hope immediately. We depart for Altair Prime as soon as you're aboard. The screen went dark. Olivia turned to Trevlix. Thank you. The chief medical officer's 4 eyes blinked slowly. I have served the collective for 60 years. In all that time, I have never questioned our methods. Perhaps that was a mistake. He looked at Ventar and the other young medics. Your Earth approach saved lives today. It may save many more at Altair Prime. On the shuttle ride back to the Mender's Hope, they planned their approach for the battle ahead. It would be their greatest challenge yet, a medical crisis far larger than Procyon Station, with the fate of thousands of Earth doctors hanging in the balance. If we succeed, Olivia told Nathan quietly, we might finally earn our way home. And if we fail? He asked. She looked at Ventar, who was confidently instructing the other Keldari medics on emergency procedures. I don't think we will. Something's changing here. They're beginning to understand what humans can really offer. As the Mender's Hope prepared for battle, word spread throughout the ship about what had happened at the outpost. More Keldari medics approached the humans asking to be trained in their methods before reaching Altair Prime. Even Trevlix joined in, watching carefully as Nathan demonstrated surgical techniques to a group of senior medics. The universe is full of surprises, Samantha said to Olivia as they observed this scene. Who would have thought being kidnapped by aliens would lead to a medical revolution? Olivia smiled for the first time in days. Maybe that's why we're here. Not just to help in their war, but to show them a different way of thinking. As the ship jumped into faster-than-light travel, Olivia knew that whatever happened at Altair Prime would change everything. For the Keldari, for Earth, and for the future of medicine throughout the galaxy.